Okay, friend, full disclosure, I am highly annoyed and frustrated. Not with you, but rather this whole recording a video process. This is actually my fourth attempt in 24 hours. My first three videos have been deleted for similar and different reasons. Video one from last night, thought it was a good one, was going to upload it, and then two things happened. My CapCut, which is the editing software that I use, that quite frankly sucks, and I'm getting rid of it. It didn't want to work properly. There is a part of CapCut that's called transcript or transcribe. And so basically what it does is it cuts out all the uhs, ands, and so's, the filler words that can be very annoying. It does that, and it just kind of smooths out the video. Not working. Then, 12 minutes into the video, my microphone apparently quit working. So I had no sound for 75% of the video. Had to scratch that one. Today, I did a second recording. Once again, CapCut editing would not work. I thought about uploading it anyway, but it was a little bit longer than I wanted it to be. And I didn't like how many mess ups I had. I felt like it wasn't going to be well received. So I scratched that one as well. I then decided to do a walk and talk video. I've done one of those before, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to do another one. I want to go for a walk, so let me just go ahead and grab my phone and talk. And honestly, that one was going pretty well until about the last 5 to 8 minutes when my pinky finger accidentally hit stop mid-sentence. And I wanted to throw my phone. I didn't, but I wanted to. I had a decision to make in that moment. And so I feel like this is also a little teachable moment. And even though this is not the true message of this video, it's now becoming a part of the message. And it's this. When we are faced with obstacles, with challenges, things that are out of our control, it is so easy to just say, screw it. I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. This is awful. This is terrible. And just throw in the towel. It's so easy to quit and give up and to feel like, okay, somebody doesn't want me to do this, right? We can kind of get into that mindset. And I could have done that. But instead, I said, okay, finish your walk, get home, dry yourself off a little bit because it is stupid humid outside, and just go in the bedroom and hit record and do it again. Even though the lighting is not that great, the sound is not that great, you're probably going to hear my cats in the background. I'm just going to do it. I'm here, I'm raw, I'm real, and I have no edits because my CapCut is still not flipping working. So I'm just going to do a little bit of filtering just to try to clean this up a little bit. And then I'm going to upload it. And sincerely hope and pray that you can get past all the imperfections and just really listen in to my message. Because my words, my message is what is most important and what I want you to hear. So before I go there, welcome. Thank you for stopping in. If this is your first time or you have been here before, I really, really appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. And if you watch the entire video, there's mistake number one. If you watch this entire video and you like it, do me a huge favor and subscribe to my channel, share it, and hit the notification bell so you always know when I'm on. Whether I am quote unquote perfect, not really, or completely real and raw like I am right now. Without further ado, let's go ahead and keep going with this conversation. I wanted to chat with you specifically about what happens to our mental health in menopause as it relates to both weight gain and the difficulty of losing weight during this time. So I want to touch on 3 key points. The first one is how it actually affects us a little bit differently than it does when we are younger, why it's so important to eat for our brains and not our bodies, especially during menopause. And then lastly, I want to give you a few solutions when it comes to lifestyle and eating and movement, things that you can implement today, as soon as you finish watching this video, that over time will help you. Remember, everything that I talk about on my videos is about the marathon, not the sprint. We can't rush these things in life. Well, actually, we can, but we're not going to have long-lasting results if we do. It's super important that we practice patience and grace in this phase of life, especially with everything that is going on in here. Okay, I have to take a drink of water because I am super thirsty. And my mouth is very dry. Yay, menopause. Okay, weight gain. Ugh. Tell you what, it is frustrating. I will be the first to admit it is super frustrating to gain 10, 20, 30 pounds in a very short period of time, only to find out that it is super hard to lose it. And what works when we're 25, 35, even 40 just simply does not work in our late 40s into our 50s and 60s. And it is a direct result of what is happening in our brains and our bodies due to our low estrogen, our low progesterone, our cortisol levels, our insulin resistance, all these things that are taking place in our body that makes our bodies want to hold on to the fat, store it primarily in our midsection, and just create this overall frustration. So why is it different mentally now than when we're younger? In my opinion, and keep in mind, this is both my professional and my personal opinion. My professional opinion because I counsel mostly women. I've been doing this for 23 years. And so I've been able to surmise and connect some dots among my female clients, both young and old, black, white, brown, just basically any female. I've been able to connect some dots and make that common thread among us. And then also just being a woman, having my own story of moving from low self-worth, no self-worth, loathing my body, to coming to love myself more, accept myself more, and learning how to not stay in the dark, negative places. And so with that being said, I think one thing in particular is our metabolism. When we are younger, most of us have a decent or even high metabolism. And so what that looks like is when we're 25 or 35 years old and we gain 5 or 10 pounds, we can lose that weight fairly quickly just by doing a few key things. And the weight seems to, quote unquote, melt off. Well, when you fast forward in your late 40s going into 50s and 60s, it doesn't work anymore, right? So again, what works in our 20s and 30s does not translate into our 40s, 50s, and beyond. Our bodies are different. Our brain is different. And so how it looks at weight gain and weight loss is just simply not the same. So as a result of the low metabolism versus the higher metabolism, that creates a lot of frustration. Also, we begin to have insulin resistance, in this midlife. And so what that means is that our body, our cells are not responding to insulin, which is a very important hormone, in a healthy way, in the way that it once did when we were younger. It's now that the communication is off. Our brain and our gut and our reproductive system is constantly communicating, like from the moment that we're born through puberty and childbirthing years and then into menopause, is constantly communicating. And when our ovaries begin to shut down, whether that happens naturally, or for some women, they have hysterectomies. So either when it's removed or it begins to shut down, then that communication obviously just stops abruptly, meaning a surgical hysterectomy, or it just begins to slow down because the ovaries are no longer producing eggs. And so the brain is sending these signals, but it's getting a busy signal. You know what I'm talking about, right? If you happen to be young watching this, you're probably thinking, what's a busy signal? Go ask your mom. Yeah, right? So it's like a busy signal. It's like it's not able to communicate. And so all of this just connects back to this overall frustration and aggravation of having the added weight and doing all the things and not getting anywhere. And if we're not careful, this will lead us into feelings of despair, hopelessness, and a lot of sabotaging behaviors. This also, if we're not careful, could even lead to some type of eating disorder or a disordered eating. I have women say all the time how I don't know why I'm gaining weight or why I can't lose weight. All I had yesterday was a granola bar and a cup of coffee. Okay, well, first of all, sis, that is not enough food. And I don't know if you realize this or not, but when we are in midlife, when we're in menopause, we need to eat more food. Like literally, we need to eat more food. I feel like something's on my back. We need to eat more food in order to lose weight. I know that sounds counterproductive because again, when we're in our 20s and our 30s, that's not the case, right? We don't need to eat as much food during those years in order to lose weight. But when we get to this phase of life and we have all these hormonal disruptions and all these things going on and this lack of communication between our brain and our ovaries and insulin and cortisol and everything's just kind of wackadoo on the inside. Yeah, we need more food. We need the right foods. We need specific foods, but we need to have more food in order to lose that weight. So when a woman is faced with all of these things and she begins to sabotage herself by, eating too much carbohydrates or sugar or drinking too much, Cokes or Diet Cokes or alcohol beverages. And she's not doing as much movement, or, maybe she even smokes or vapes or something else. It just begins to create more and more issues with our mental health. When our brain is not healthy, when it is foggy, when the neurons are not firing like they used to, when there's inflammation and all the things are happening at once, the brain energy is low and it's just really hard to concentrate and focus, and you just kind of feel crazy when all of this is happening. If we're not careful, we can just run the risk of increasing our depression and increasing our anxiety, increasing our stress and our overwhelm. And we just get stuck in this very vicious cycle and begin to fall down this pit. And so it's very important that we are cognizant of what is happening, how are we thinking, and what are we doing. And a huge part of this journey is learning how to reframe our thought process. We have to erase the script that we've had for decades, because once again, this time in our life is not like any other time. Well, I take that back. It is kind of similar to puberty, just a little bit. But overall, in the big picture, it's really unique in so many ways. And so we have to rewire our brains. We have to look at food differently. We have to look at exercise differently. We need to look at our lifestyle, our environment, our stressors, all these things. We have to look at them very differently because we are different. And you can view that difference in a negative life and have a really crappy attitude about it. Or you can do like I am doing and what I recommend you do. Sit with it, spend a minute or two in that dark, ugly place, set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes, let yourself go off. And then once that 5 or 10 minutes are done, you get up and you move your body and you go do something. You focus on a task. You make dinner for your family. You go for a walk. You go to the gym. You write the letter or the card that you're supposed to write to your friend or your family. Like, you just go do something, but you do not stay there. And the more you practice this, the more you allow yourself to feel it, but then you get up and you do something different and you begin to slowly change that script. That's when you'll really start to see the numbers move. And they may not move as much as you want to, because the ultimate goal is not to be skinny, it's to be healthy. And so although you may have gained 20 pounds or 26 pounds like I did over the course of 9-10 years, although you may have gained that weight, if you are doing things that are healthy for your body, that are reducing your insulin, that is reducing your inflammation, that is helping your cortisol to, increase in the morning and then decrease in the afternoon and evening. If you're doing these things and your insides are getting healthier, but the number on the scale is really not moving, but you're feeling good, you're feeling better, you're feeling more energized, you're sleeping better, all these other things are improving. That's what we need to focus on. And please know, I am preaching to the choir right now because I am guilty of getting hung up on the numbers. Totally, I am guilty of that, which is why I try not to weigh myself too often. I probably weigh myself maybe once a month because I can get really hung up on the numbers, or the size of my clothes. If I have to wear a size large instead of a medium, it's like I could really go there in my head. So I have to watch it. So a lot of this is just learning how to give yourself permission while you just learn how to think differently and know that this is not the end. As a matter of fact, in some ways, it is just the beginning. So now I want to jump into our brain. Why do we need to eat for our brain? Well, honestly, we should always eat for our brain. Like day one of life, we should be eating for our brain. But unfortunately, we live in a world with a lot of toxicities, including foods. We have way too many fast foods. We just have too much junk. We have too many toxics and chemicals and dyes and all the things. And so we just don't eat for our brains when we're children or even young adults. But when we were in midlife, because once again of our estrogen dropping, our progesterone dropping, inflammation increasing, becoming insulin resistant, metabolism is dropping, our muscle mass is dropping, which means that we're not able to burn calories as easily because muscle burns more calories than fat. And so because of all these things that are happening, it's super important that we focus on brain health. Here's another reason why I feel like it is super duper important to eat for our brain, especially in midlife. And that is because of dementia and Alzheimer's. We as women are 2 times more likely than men to develop Alzheimer's and dementia. I'm not saying that what happens in menopause causes dementia, because that's not an accurate statement. According to some experts, they say that really dementia can start as early as in our 20s and 30s, just depending on our lifestyle and, all the different variables. So I know it's not something that just poof, one day in your 40s and 50s, you develop dementia. So I do understand that. But hey, you know what? Let's not push the envelope here. If we know as women in our 40s and 50s and 60s that we can do something to help our brain to lessen the likelihood that the dementia will come at all or come at a more rapid speed, right? If we know that we can either prevent it or reduce it by a healthier lifestyle, healthier living, healthier foods, all these things, then why wouldn't we? And also, when we shift that mindset, going back to the shifting of the mindset, when we shift it from eating for our bodies to eating for our brains benefit. Duh, right? Everything, this is the computer of our body. And if this is not healthy, if this is not working, then guess what? This doesn't matter. Seriously, if you do not have a healthy brain, then you don't have a healthy body. I'm going to say that again. If you don't have a healthy brain, you don't have a healthy body. So eat for your brain. Focus on an anti-inflammatory diet. Focus on getting rid of the ultra processed foods. Focus on what are those things, what are those nutrients that my brain needs to operate at the optimum level, the absolute optimum level. What can I do to reduce my brain fog? What can I do to increase my memory and my concentration? And focusing and honing in on there. And I promise you, if you're able to do that, if you are able to eat for your brain, your body's going to thank you, and you just might thank me. I mean, I don't want the credit. That sounded like I wanted the credit. I don't want the credit. But my point is, you are going to be grateful. You're going to be grateful because you're going to see the benefits. So now this leads me to the last point, the solutions, which is about lifestyle and eating and movement. There are 4 eating lifestyles that I recommend. Please know, full disclosure, disclaimer, I am not a registered dietitian. I don't have any background in nutrition. I'm a licensed professional counselor. That is my expertise. So what I'm recommending to you is just a recommendation. I strongly implore you to do your own homework. If you have any comorbidities, if you have any prior health issues like heart attacks or strokes or diabetes, you must confer with your doctor, your registered dietitian, to make sure that you are going about it the healthy way for your body and your brain. With that being said, here are the 4 eating lifestyles that I recommend. Number 1, a ketogenic diet. When I say ketogenic diet, I'm not talking about the keto foods in the store. Please do not buy those and definitely do not eat them. They are ultra processed, they are a marketing gimmick, and they are not good for you or healthy. Ketogenic diet simply means eating real whole foods that put your body into ketosis, where it creates ketones. And the ketones are used for energy. The brain uses the ketones to burn energy instead of using glucose for energy. And when we have the ketones, that is when our brain begins to operate at an optimum level. And so once again, ketogenic diet is eating whole healthy foods. It is very low in carbohydrates. It's high in protein, high in fats. You can eat a plant-based ketogenic diet or an animal-based ketogenic diet. So that's the first one. Second one is carnivore. Carnivore is simply eating anything that comes from an animal or even seafood. Now, some carnivores are real strict and they'll tell you just meat and eggs. I don't necessarily think you have to do that. I think you can consume seafood. I think you can consume dairy, but you do need to be careful with dairy because dairy can be inflammatory. It can also be caloric, and you can gain weight if you consume too much dairy. And then, of course, you have the lactose. So it's very important that you just kind of be mindful of that. But carnivore is pretty much anything that comes from an animal, whether it's land, sea, or air. Carnivore is mostly no carbs, but if you consume dairy, then you will have some carbohydrates. The third lifestyle eating is paleo. So paleo is going to be more of your nuts and seeds, lots of seafoods, lots of good fatty fish like salmon, right? So a lot of that, and some meats. It's still going to be low carbs. It's going to have more carbs than probably the ketogenic or the carnivore, but it's still a fairly low carb diet. You can definitely adjust that. It tends to be low in sugar and just kind of broadens the the range of foods a little bit more. And then you have the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean diet is probably the most well known out of the four, and it is similar to the paleo, more so than keto or carnivore. And Mediterranean, of course, has a lot of your olive oils and your avocados and your nuts and seeds and all of those types of things. Mediterranean is a little bit lower on the meat and higher on the seafood and chicken and just those types of things. So there you have it. Ketogenic, carnivore, paleo, or Mediterranean. Do your due diligence, do your own homework, look up each of them, find out the pros and cons, decide which one speaks to you. Maybe try each one out for 30 days. See how your body responds to it. See how your brain responds to it, more importantly than your body, and then go from there. And once again, if you need to, please consult with your doctor or a registered dietitian first, because you want to be responsible and you want to make sure that whatever you do, you're doing it in a manner that is effective for you and beneficial for you, because we are all uniquely made, and what's going to work for one of us is not necessarily going to work for all of us. But I firmly believe in all four eating lifestyles. And so with that being said, I do believe that one or a combination of a couple will definitely bring you just tremendous health benefits. The second part of point number 3 is movement. If you watch any of my videos, or if you continue to watch my videos, you're going to hear me talk about movement a good bit. I am a huge proponent of moving your body, especially if you have a sedentary lifestyle like I do. I sit for a living. As a counselor, I'm sitting in a chair all day, and yeah, it's a very sedentary life. So movement is super important to me. Movement can look like going for a walk. It can be, walking around your building during lunchtime. It could be going up and down the stairwell, at your office if you have a stairwell. It could be going to the gym. It could be, going to Pilates or yoga. Cleaning, organizing, playing with your grandkids, or maybe you had kids later in life, and so you actually have a young kid at home. But it's just moving your body, making sure that the oxygen is flowing, that you're kind of oiling up those joints, you're stretching, and you're just not sitting all the time. Choose activities, choose hobbies that kind of force you to get up and move. So movement is super important for our physical health and very important for our mental health. And then the last on this list, in this last point, is our environment. When I say your environment, I'm talking about your cleaning products. I'm talking about your body products, your makeup, your hair products. I'm talking about candles and air fresheners and all of those things that are around you. If you are a person that loves bath bombs, that loves all these fruity, smelly soaps and detergents, if you have the Glade plugins or any kind of plug-in, please, please, please do yourself a favor and start there. Like, seriously, all of those things, all of these scents are hormone interrupters. Like, they really are not good in any way. I mean, they may smell good, but that's about it. I know for some people that sounds awful, but I'm telling you, once you quit it, you never want to go back. I used to love candles and all the air fresheners and all the things. The more I got into a more natural lifestyle, I got just a wee bit crunchy, a wee bit of a hippie when I started practicing yoga and getting into essential oils. Now, like, I literally can't stand those smells. Like, it is an immediate reaction. I feel like I'm allergic to them now. Like, I get headaches, I feel nauseous, and I just simply cannot be around them. Matter of fact, I've been known to unplug them. So I'm just saying, if you have it at your house and I go to your house, I'm probably going to unplug them You can plug them later when I leave. In all seriousness, just start there. Get rid of the plug-ins. If you're going to buy candles, get the most natural, most clean candle you possibly can. Yes, it's going to be more expensive, but yes, it's going to be worth it, and your hormones are going to thank you. Your cleaning supplies. You don't have to dump everything at one time, but maybe just start with Windex. I found a formula. It's a DIY formula for your own Windex, and it has white vinegar and water and like maybe two other things, and it works fantastic, like fantastic. I've been using it for years. You make up a spray bottle, and that lasts you forever. Like seriously, one of those big spray bottles, it probably lasts you a good year. So little things like that. Use baking soda to clean, white vinegar. Just find natural ingredients that our ancestors used to use before there was such a thing as Clorox and Lysol and all the products we have today. I'm not saying you have to dump everything, but I am encouraging you to maybe pick one or two things, start there, and just slowly begin to eliminate it. Same thing with your makeup and your hair products and others. Now, quick little sidebar. I don't live in a bubble, and neither should you. We still have to live in this world, and that is okay. I am realistic. I am not asking you to get rid of everything. I'm not asking you to become this super duper hippy dippy granola person that literally can't even look at plastic, much less have it in her house. Okay, I'm not asking you to be that extreme. You don't have to be that extreme, but I am asking you to look at these products that I just identified and start with one. Ask yourself, out of your soaps and your lotions and your potions and your detergents and your air fresheners and your cleaners and all the things, what's the one thing that you can start with that you can get rid of and replace with something else? Maybe it's Windex. Okay, maybe it's Windex. And here's the thing, if you want to know this recipe that I have for my glass cleaner, comment below. Let me know. Matter of fact, comment below anyway. Let me know your thoughts and your feelings about this conversation. What I'm talking about as far as, how our weight gain, our inability to lose weight, how it really affects our mental health in midlife. I want to know your thoughts, your feelings, your questions, your comments. So please feel free to start this conversation with me. I would love to have it with you. On that note, I think I'm going to wrap it up, because this is one of these talks where if I'm not careful, I will just keep going. And I don't want to do that to you, because you're already having to watch this without any edits. I probably need to stop reminding you of that. Anyway, friend, thank you so much. And I really appreciate your you're just liking and sharing and subscribing, and any feedback that you are willing to give me. I am doing this for you. Seriously, I am just passionate about helping women, especially women who struggle with their mental illness as they navigate the very, very choppy waters of menopause. Because I'm here to tell you, sis, this is no joke. Absolutely not at all. It is not for the faint of heart, and it's not to be taken lightly. We need to laugh, but we also need to be very intentional and very focused about how we're handling our mental health during this time. So that's it for me. Thank you again for watching. And next time, God willing, I'll have some editing and it'll be a much smoother process. Bye for now.